Sponsored programs.
Hello?
Hi, grant sponsored programs.
Is this City Councilman Lavarro?
It is.
Hi, it's Lydia Reedon. How are you?
Good, Lydia.
Listen, did you get my email with the falsified promissory note?
Exactly, I don't know. Let me check my email right now.
Okay. Are you still there?
I'm still there.
Okay. I'm in Manhattan. It's monsooning, so I'm just checking. It's raining very heavily. I sent you a series of emails, and they respond to the latest stupid arguments that I got. That promissory note is falsified.
Hold on 1 second.
Are you printing it out?
What?
Are you printing it out?
Yes.
Oh, I can hear your printer. That's why I was saying.
Okay, I'm looking at the promissory notes.
Okay, so I'm going to talk you through it. The first thing you're going to look at is, you don't have to get involved in all the details, but you go down to the lender information. Okay, the lender information is left blank. That's illegal. A student is not supposed to leave a student financial aid office or student finance office without a completed promissory note in her hand. So on its face, you know that this promissory note is illegal. Why do you think the school doesn't want me to know which bank they're coming out of? I'm going to tell you, because they're probably bundling the promissory notes, and and that's illegal also. I cross-checked with Columbia University. They can't even recommend a preferred lender list. You can't even go to them and say, listen, which 3 to 5 banks would you like me to do business with? You can't even do that, because when NYU did it, they got into trouble. So at this school, at Yeshiva University's medical school, they're hiding the lender information. Now, if they're bundling the promissory notes, that means they're delivering to the bank a source of revenue every year, because the bank makes money on this. They rubber stamp these promissory notes and they make money. So it wouldn't take Yeshiva University or anyone long to figure out, if they're making money, and I'm sure they asked for something in exchange. That's all illegal. That's my working theory so far. Hit box 21. There's some redacted information. There's a first box, like part A, where you put in your name, address, phone number. You guys don't need to know my birth date or my social security number or 2 references that I used. They bully you into signing this note. I'm not going to get into all the details because there's a lot here, and other students have corroborated what I said. But I'm just going to go straight to the most salient points. Box 21 is checked. Okay? I was not a full-time student in 1995 to 1996. I was in something called a decelerated program, which the school explicitly defined as not full-time. So right away, that promissory note is fraud. Ultimately, my decelerated program was canceled, and I didn't take classes for like weeks and months. So the school got the money. I never got the classes. They told lie after lie after lie. I'm not going to bore you with all the lies. I got Assistant District Attorney in the Bronx, Linda Tacoma, to admit that she lied to Congressman Weiner's office. But I'm not going to bore you with all of that. I'm just going to cut to the latest lie. Here's the most ridiculous lie that I've heard so far. The school claims... Are you still with me?
I am listening. So let me backtrack here. Okay, So I've got a promissory note that you say is illegal, and so what is it that you're seeking as a result? For them to admit that it's illegal?
No, I paid off on this note for 10 years. I want my money back. And when I discovered this promissory note, they refused to give me my records at my school so I could correct it. And they told what do you think they were going to say? Lydia Radin's a lovely person. We lied to steal money from her. And by the way, this is not my personal issue. They also they falsified my eligibility to get a federal Pell Grant, and they falsified my eligibility to receive a state TAP grant. Now, those amounts, relatively speaking, are small, but they show criminal intent. Okay, the school was out to steal money. They weren't fudging the paperwork to help me get a loan so that, I could take classes and graduate. So I actually paid off on this loan for 10 years while everybody, including Sally Mae, lied. And Sally Mae had a legal duty to do its due diligence and make sure that this was a collectible note. It's not. So what do I want? I want all my money back with interest that I paid on this note. And when I discovered this, I stopped paying it, and I've been illegally declared in default on a student loan that I wasn't eligible to receive. So my credit reports have been damaged for life, and I can't pass the background check to get an apartment. That's why I told my landlords all about this, and everybody in landlord-tenant court. So Judge Rodriguez knew, listen, you're forcing me out to where? I can't get another apartment because I've been illegally declared. Oh, and now my school is coming after me to pay $65,000. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I want criminal prosecution. I want my money back. I want my credit rating repaired.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me follow up. Another question.
Okay.
So you have a promissory note that you say is illegal, and you want your money back for money that you paid. So if you knew the promissory note was illegal, why did you pay into it for 10 years?
They hid it from me for 10 years. I was expelled illegally without a fair hearing. And I asked for my records before I became a former student. It's been a 15-year battle just to get these records. I'm the one that had to go, when my attorneys dropped the ball, I'm the one that had to go to the Department of Education and say, you can't even collect unless you can present an enforceable promissory note. I'm the one that forced Sally Mae to give me the promissory note. And by the way, I was in federal court. I asked a judge. He refused to uphold the law. So why did I pay off on this? Because Sally Mae has been lying. Because the Department of Education lied. I went to investigators. I got jerked around 12 ways from Sunday. They muddied the waters every way they could. Finally, after paying, I started with Sally Mae at the customer service level and worked my way up to the board of directors. You know what the board of directors said? Get a lawyer and sue the hell out of us. That is not an appropriate response. And by the way, am I the only person who's gotten jerked around? No, when I started publicizing these details and public speaking to Mr. Vance, the district attorney. Oh yeah, we went to, you want to hear all the the crap they put me through for years? We went to Congressman Weiner's office. Congressman Weiner's office before we even got to Congressman Weiner's office, I went to the police department in Jersey City, and I spoke to Sergeant Sullivan. And I discussed all this with him. He looked up the statutes. He's like, Lydia, this is consumer fraud and civil RICO. And you can get triple damages and attorney's fees, don't worry. He looked up the statutes for me. He photocopied them. He sent off a report to the Bronx detectives, and he sent off a report to his own detectives. And then we went to my Congressman Menendez, and we went to Ed DeFazio's office, and Ed DeFazio refused to enforce the law. Had Ed DeFazio enforced the law in 2005, everyththing that happened since then never would have happened. Gustavo Adrianes was on Congressman Menendez. This is, U.S. Senator Menendez now. Gustavo Adrianes was a member of his staff. He called up Ed DeFazio. They had a knockdown, drag-out fight. Ed DeFazio and the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office refused to uphold the law. They refused to prosecute. They refused to help me get my money back and solve this problem. You want to know why? because once a school has been found to have committed federal student loan fraud, the program is pulled from the program is pulled from the school forever, and the school can never regain eligibility. Now, I'm not the only victim of federal student loan fraud. When I filed my federal case, there was another student who did a search, found me, called me. They ran the same scam on him. So now it's even worse. You got two victims of federal student loan fraud. So the problem is the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. Debbie Simon, Tracy McQuaid. The problem is Judge Rodriguez in 2008, when I was standing in front of her. Listen, Judge Rodriguez, these criminal charges are bogus. My landlords are using them to harass me. But while we're here, you as a municipal court judge with a pro se litigant like me can enforce federal statutes to put a stop to federal student loan fraud. And by the way, here's the case law from New York. This has been done before. Please enforce these statutes. Please refund my money. Please, have my credit, force the Sallie Mae company. These are my bills from Sallie Mae. These are the postmarked envelopes. This is what Sallie Mae has been doing. I've got other students reaching out to me saying, oh yeah, they've been fighting Sallie Mae for 4 years. It's a scam. They do not enforce the law for academic institutions. If you were in a commercial school, they would enforce the law, but not academic institutions. And then on top of this, I've got the rich donors to my medical school are also rich donors to the Democratic Party. So none of the prosecutors who run for election and are depending on the Democratic Party to finance their elections want to prosecute the very people that are donating money to them. Do you see how the scheme works, how the racism works? So when I'm standing in front of Judge Rodriguez, in 2008, she could have enforced the law. She illegally refused to do so. And when I exposed her criminal conduct, she called up Jersey City Medical Center and lied about me. So now I'm sitting down with this woman named Stacy Dix-Kubiowski. She's going to do an assessment. Assessment for what? I got a judge that refuses to uphold the law. So I gave the postmarked envelopes and copies of the Sallie Mae bills to Stacy Dix-Kubiowski, who changed Sallie Mae to Fannie Mae and falsified medical records because Lydia Radin is a lunatic to cover up for federal student loan fraud. You get the big picture?
I am, Lydia, I don't see an issue here for me to address. So.
Pardon me?
I don't see an issue for me here to address.
I'm a crime victim, and this involves the municipal prosecutor's office that had this information in 2005, the municipal public defender's office, Jonathan Lenzer and Kevin Pervin, who had and Andrew C. Abrams, who had this information in 2008. Chief Judge Nelsie A. Rodriguez, who refused to uphold the law, and my city councilman, Steve Fulop, and the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. I'm a crime victim in the federal student loan program. Steve Fulop knew, your city court knew, your city prosecutor knew, your city municipal defender's office knew. Let's see. Lawrence Sidoni from Northeast New Jersey Legal Services knew, and Ed DeFazio knew in 2005. So, you can make up all the excuses that you want, but the city council is responsible for the municipal court. And when all this came out, I went to Steve Fulop and I said, this is the root of my problem. This is federal student loan fraud by Yeshiva University, and it was your municipal prosecutor's office who had this information, and your municipal public defender's office who could have put a stop to this, and your municipal court judge, who is Nestle A. Rodriguez, who you've allowed now to be promoted to a Superior Court judge, and it's your hospital that lied to cover up for this. And Northeast New Jersey Legal Services. And this is all coming out in 2008. So it's the city council that's responsible for the city court. Had Judge Rodriguez enforced the law in June of 2008? nothing bad would have happened to me. And she didn't stop with just she was in contact with my medical school, and she was covering up for federal student loan fraud. That's not the only thing that she did, because my medical school was in contact with my landlords. So they really decided to gang up on me. So in July of 2008, I stood up in front of your city court judge again and asked for two written no contact orders. She refused to give them to me. That's illegal. Her verbal no contact orders were a joke. When my landlords violated her verbal no contact order in early August, I was told, come down to the municipal court, file complaints. I tried to do so. The municipal clerks refused to take my complaint. This is a pattern and a practice, because the same thing happened to Pauline Roman. She goes down to try to file complaints. The clerks refuse to take it. Same thing with Bill Doherty. You go down, if you're a tenant, you try to file your complaints. The clerks refuse to take it. So this is your city court that will always take the complaints to the landlord, but never the tenant who's getting beaten up on. So I go down in early August, try to file my complaints, and your city court refuses to take them illegally. And when I asked the judge to enforce her verbal no contact order, she refused to enforce it. And I asked her, finally, if she had enforced it, I never would have been physically assaulted at the end of September 2008. So when I outed her on September 12, 2008, and passed out handbills that talked about how this judge refuses to enforce the law to protect me, she called up Jersey City Medical Center, lied, told them I was mailing her threatening letters. There are no threatening letters from me to Judge Rodriguez. There's a letter that I hand-delivered in court to her on September 12, 2008, and said, please recuse yourself from my case. Hello?
Hi, Lydia.
So the city council is responsible for the city court. You guys pay these people. They're on your payroll, and they've been participating in crimes against me. And this involves City Councilman Steve Fuller.
Lydia, from the information you presented me, I don't see a crime that's committed.
What crime don't you see? I've got falsified medical records at Jersey City Medical Center. I was physically assaulted there. You got this woman named Stacy Dix-Kubiowski falsifying medical records. She billed Medicaid for this. Are you kidding me? And you've got federal student loan fraud in front of you.
Lydia, what I have right now, email from you and a promissory note that you tell me is illegal, but nothing else supporting any of the other allegations that you're putting forward.
Would you like to see my falsified records from Jersey City Medical Center?
If you have falsified records from Jersey City Medical Center and you're telling me it's in relation to, and you want to prosecute them for false records, then I can see if there's a violation there. I'm sure there is if they falsify medical records. But so if you have falsified medical records, then...
Okay, this is a whole lot more than falsified medical records. I was physically assaulted at Jersey City Medical Center. Debbie Simon knew all about this. She's at the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. She promised to do an investigation. She never did. She lied.
Do you have any reports of...
Oh, yeah, police reports? Yeah. When I went down to Jersey City Medical Center to say, knock it off, leave me alone, I was physically assaulted. These people jumped me. I was left with serious bodily injury. My mother went down and got the police, not once that day, but twice. The police blew her off. Why? Because I'm being stalked by my medical school, and they told them a pack of lies. Let me go back a minute. That promissory note on its face is fraud. What don't you understand? I was not a full-time student in 1995 to 1996. The school admitted that I was in a decelerated program, so when they checked the box 21, I was not a full-time student. And now they've misconstrued the statutes. I mean, it's very simple. The federal statutes which are controlling define what a full-time student is. And the only power that the school has, and I wrote this in the email, the only power that federal law gives to the school is only permitted to define what a full-time academic workload is by what combination of academic classes or work experience would constitute a full-time academic load. The federal statutes do not say, and I put this in the email because I quoted the federal statutes, do not say, if you're enrolled in the school, you're a full-time student. The federal statutes define what an enrolled student is. These statutes were misconstrued to deceive. So an enrolled student is defined by federal law, which says to be enrolled in the school, you've registered at the school, which means you gave me your name and address, but you have not yet paid tuition and fees. A full-time student, they define what a full-time student is, and the school can decide what combination of academic classes, what combination of classes and work would be a full-time academic workload, and they define what a half-time student is, and a half-time student has to be doing at least half of what a full-time student is doing. So when my school checked box 21, full-time student, I was not a full-time student, and they've already admitted this in 1995 to 1996. I was in a decelerated program, which the school defines as not full-time. And the rest of that promissory note is illegal because the lender information is blank. So what don't you understand about a falsified promissory note? The school got money for classes I never got.
So, yeah, I just don't see any wrongdoing here.
What do you mean you don't see any wrongdoing?
All I have right now is, again, that promissory note, your email, and your statements about it.
Okay, my email quotes federal law. And on its face, that promissory note has no lender information. Okay, that's illegal. My school has already admitted that in 1995 to 1996, I was not a full-time student, that I was in a decelerated program. That's defined as not full-time.
I'm sorry I can't be of assistance. I don't see anything that here that I can assist you with. So
what are you talking about? When I was physically assaulted at Jersey City Medical Center, it's not just about falsified medical records. They billed Medicaid for this. You don't see a crime here? Stacy Dix-Kibiowski wrote in my medical records that I was mailing as per Stacy, patient has been mailing threatening letters to Judge Rodriguez. There are no threatening letters I'm mailing to Judge Rodriguez. Stacy Dix-Kibiowski is in your municipal court. She is part of the jail diversion project. I was never her patient. She never provided medical services to me. She sat down and created fraud. And because she created fraud, when I went down to Jersey City Medical Center and said, could you please knock it off? Could you please stop sending people to my house to scare my family? They physically assaulted me. That's aggravated assault. Then they held me in their hospital as a prisoner for 3 days. My mother went down to the Jersey City Police twice. Do you want to see the police reports? Would you like to talk to my mom? Because she's on the internet talking about this. I delivered the police report to a law enforcement agency. So Jersey City Medical said, my mother went down and got a cop. Said, go into that hospital. My daughter's been kidnapped. They are holding her. The cop comes out and tells my mother some cock and bull story. That's the crime of false imprisonment. Unless you got a court order, that hospital couldn't hold me for 4 seconds, much less 4 days, and then create a bunch of false records. And the word I got from Debbie Simon was, they have the right to hold you based on history of the hospital. The history of the hospital is fraud. That's also a violation of the law. They don't have the right to hold me at all. Then she told another cock and bull story about whatever stupidity Michael Stewart, who was a dishonest psychiatrist, had sat in the back of my landlord-tenant case. And I was physically assaulted before I was anywhere near Michael Stewart or his psychiatric ward. These people are using a hospital as a de facto prison. They almost killed me when they physically assaulted me. So what evidence do you need? Would you like to talk to my mother? Would you like to talk to Robert Cross, who was there and witnessed the physical assault? Would you like to look at my falsified medical records where they go into detail about the lies? Because a law enforcement agency has already confirmed when Stacy Dix Kubiaski is falsifying a screening document on September 12, 2008, and she's claiming that Judge Rodriguez is calling up the hospital because there's a need for an assessment because she received a letter from me the day before, she lied. I hand-delivered in open court to Judge Rodriguez, please recuse yourself from my case. You refuse to give me written no-contact orders. You refuse to, your verbal no-contact orders are bogus. You refuse to enforce the law. And you're putting me and my family at risk, and you're refusing to enforce federal statutes for federal student loan fraud. Please recuse yourself. And she goes to the hospital and claims that she got this letter the day before, and then I'm mailing her threatening letters. There are no threatening letters I ever mailed Judge Rodriguez. Oh, but you want to see my falsified medical records from Jersey City Medical Center, where they claimed that I was being evicted on October 1st, 2008. There was no eviction on October 1st, 2008. Everybody involved knew a week before that my landlords accepted my rent payments and accepted me as a legal tenant and waived all previous action against me. There was no eviction. You got a hospital here that's falsifying records, physically assaulted me, and held me in the crime of false imprisonment. They didn't have the right to hold me unless they had a court order. You got a criminal gang operating out of your hospital, and it's all being orchestrated by Judge Rodriguez and Stacy Dix Kubiaski. So what evidence do you need to look at? You want me to release my medical records to you, and I'll show you a few salient points about how they committed deliberate fraud and they knew they were lying? Stacy Dix, are you still there?
Still here.
Okay, I handed Stacy Dix Kubiaski bills from Sally Mae and postmarked envelopes from Sally Mae. So when she's falsifying medical records, claiming, there's something wrong with me, she changed Sally Mae in those records to Fannie Mae. Now that's not, I heard something different, it sounds like. She was looking at documents. So when she changed Sally Mae to Fannie Mae, she's covering up in those records. That took effort and malice of forethought. That means she knew what she was doing. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't hearsay. She deliberately falsified records. And she did it to try to characterize me as a lunatic so that Judge Rodriguez could get away with her crimes. Judge Rodriguez has a responsibility to give me written no-contact orders and to enforce those contact orders. Judge Rodriguez has a responsibility to enforce the law when I asked her to with federal student loan fraud. She didn't. And when I outed her, she called up a hospital and lied. You've got crimes here. What would you like? Would you like me to go down to the medical center and release my medical records to you, and then I will show you how to screen a few very simple to understand examples. There's one screening document where they claim they interviewed me and they collected all this information, and then in the same document they contradict themselves and say she never talked to us. She refused to answer questions, so how can you interview me? These people would physically accost me on the streets. Okay, so who the hell is called? My landlords are calling up Jersey City Mobile Psychiatric. Well, I don't need mobile psychiatric. There's no psychiatric emergency here. The law is very specific about this. You do not call a psychiatric ward in a hospital for mobile crisis unit to come dashing out to my house unless I'm imminently homicidal, which never happened, or imminently suicidal. That means I gotta be standing on the rooftop, looking down, going, gee, I think I'll jump so I can die. None of that ever happened. Your hospital is being misused as a means of aggression. And Stacy Dix Kubiaski is one of the key players. So is Judge Rodriguez. They know about it. They were not helping me through an eviction. I was never a patient of Jersey City Medical Center. They never provided services to me. They've committed over $15,000 in Medicaid fraud. That's your hospital, your city court, your judge, and Steve Fulop was my city councilman who had all this information and cooperated in the crime. And here's a clue. You don't get to be mayor when you cooperate, I'm going to use the words now, in organized criminal conspiracy. So what do you need? Do you want me to release my medical records? Because they're sitting there. I'll release them to you. And these are not medical records. This is wholesale fraud. This is a joke. I explain this on the internet. I turn these medical records into handbills so people can protect themselves from these criminals. These people are dangerous.
Lydia, I don't think I need anything else at this point. I just don't think I can be of assistance to you.
How do you think you cannot be of assistance when you'd be calling the state attorney general's office and saying, Robert Ruiz is an employee of the hospital. That hospital should be decertified from doing business with the county and the city and the state. I got Robert Ruiz. There's a photograph. A witness took a photograph of my landlord slashing my door with a knife. Robert Ruiz claims that's my hand in the photograph. Now, if you look at the hand in the photograph, I don't have to prove that that's my landlord's hand. All you have to do is look at my hand and look at the photograph, and you know that's not my hand in the photograph. I do not have a masculine, hairy hand. The photograph depicts a masculine, hairy hand. So when Robert Ruiz, who works in that psychiatric ward, says, oh, it's Lydia Radin's, it's her hand in the photograph, he knows what he's doing is wrong. He knows he's a liar. Okay, so how do you, as a city councilman who's responsible for all these people, it's your police department on your payroll, it's your municipal court, it's your judges, it's Stacey Dix-Kubiasi who gets paid, it's Medicaid fraud. How can you not be of assistance? This is not just, oh, I think I'll lean back and do nothing. These are crimes here. What don't you understand?
Don't see a crime here, Lydia. I'm sorry, I can't be of assistance.
What do you mean you don't see a crime here?
I'm going to have to end the call, okay? And,
well, what would you like? Would you like to look at the records from Jersey City Medical Center?
I don't know that would provide me any information.
It would when you're looking at falsified documents that are easy to see. I mean, where patient has been mailing threatening letters to Judge Rodriguez. Can you show them to me? Where are these threatening letters that I'm mailing to Judge? There are no threatening. Where are the postmark? I asked the same thing of Debbie Simon at the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. Why don't you have Judge Rodriguez fax those threatening letters over to your office with postmarked envelopes, and let's all look. There are no threatening letters. There's one letter I hand-delivered in open court and said, please recuse yourself. So would you like to talk to the witness who saw me physically assaulted? Would you like to see the police report? Would you like to talk to my mother who went and got the police? What do you mean you don't see a crime here? There was no treatment provided to me in the 3 or 4 days I was held as a prisoner in that locked psychiatric. There's no signed court order, sir. Without a signed court order, that hospital committed the crime of false imprisonment. So I released my medical records to you. You go through them. There's no signed court order. That's a crime. What don't you understand? It's that simple.
Sorry, I can't be of assistance. Okay, Lydia?
No, it's not okay, City Councilman Lavarro. It is not okay. I released my medical... It is not okay. Where do you feel that you can just, walk off this?
I'm gonna get off the phone
and do what?
Do your best with your situation, okay?
How do you not see a crime here?
Okay. I'm gonna hang up the phone now, Lydia. Okay? Take care.